Let's bring in another great voice to this conversation because we only have 4 hours and 45 minutes left in the show. Hayman Capital Management founder Kyle Bass. Kyle, it's great to have you on. Your take on the results as we are seeing them right now from a markets and money perspective, because I'm not sure that many in the market, even if they had a thought about a potential outcome, the prediction markets this morning were basically tied. This has been an unusual last couple of hours, I think it's safe to say.
Yeah, we're glad to be here, Brian. Good to see you, Jay. Look, there's now like a 74% chance that the Republicans sweep the presidential bid as well as the Senate and the House. You look at, I remember 2016. If you remember when Trump surprised the marketplace in 2016 with his victory, I was literally sitting in front of my computer in San Francisco. Had walked through a few victory party celebrations that were black tie beforehand. And I remember futures going limit down, limit down, limit down. The S&P futures were down like 130 points when I went to bed. And when I woke up the next morning, of course, they were higher net on the day when Trump won. When you look at what's happening today, as Jay was just talking about, you have the S&P futures up 70-ish points, up about 1.2%. You have the NASDAQ and the Dow up about the same. You have the 10-year bonds down a point or up about 14 basis points. You have the 30-year down 2.5 points or up about 13 basis points. So Bitcoin's up about 9% in the last 24 hours. Every single market indicator is telling me that Trump's got this one. So we can talk about whether it's a nail biter.
We don't know, but the indicators are, Kyle, but we do not know.
We don't know, Brian. The markets tell you, they told us that Trump won in 2016. They're telling you that he's won again. And we'll wake up tomorrow and figure out if he won or not. But I'm telling you that it's fairly obvious to see that 41% of the vote is in for Michigan. Trump's running ahead by his 2020 pace by like 4%. 71% of the votes in Wisconsin. He's running ahead by 3%. There's almost no scenario in which Kamala can actually get back Wisconsin. That's a shocker to me. I thought the Democrats had the ground game won in Wisconsin. So, and I think he's, when you look at 83% of the vote in Pennsylvania, Trump's running ahead of his 2020 rate by about 1.5%. I mean, it looks right now that he is the odds-on favorite to become president.
When you look at the predictions markets, to your point, Brian, that is a snapshot in time of sentiment in a way that is much more timely. It's where the money is going in the moment. So if you have, Kyle, if you think that the markets are indicating that Donald Trump has tied this up, and to be clear, CNBC and NBC News has not called it
Correct.
That way. But if that's what you're looking at this, you're with all of the people who are now putting their money in the trade on Predicted or in the other platforms that are now doing that. It's a snapshot in time. But the interesting part of this is that we have been gaming this out. The race has been close, not just today, but ever since Kamala Harris took over as the nominee for the Democratic Party. At this point, then, what's the reaction tomorrow? I mean, the investors have known that this may be the outcome today. How should we be thinking about where the economy goes, especially in the next 3 months when you have really a lame duck session?
Yeah, so it's a great question. And Brian alluded to this a minute ago, talking about deal making. You have to realize that if Trump wins, what you're going to see literally in the first week is a regulatory clean out. You're going to see the head of the FDIC, the SEC, the FCC, Lena Khan at the FTC. They are going to be gutted. And you're going to see a regulatory clean out, which means that you're going to see deal making open up again.